Okay, thank you guys for bearing with me. Again, my name is Bonnie Buck, and this is Remote Testing with Avant. So many of you know my company, Avant Assessment. We provide the STAMP assessments, World Speak assessments that a lot of your districts use for.
Today, we'll see. So I'm going to record this session. If you're uncomfortable with being recorded, please know that you can come back and watch it later. Thank you. Oh my goodness, we still have people coming in. Excellent.
Can anyone else hear
Catherine, we can hear you. Can you mute?
That's where I was last year, not today. Okay. So let's make sure that we have this in.
I'll try to mute whoever they are.
Awesome.
Yeah, could everyone mute, please?
Okay, so let's talk about social media. I can integrate social media, and we're going to be looking at communicative tests for all three modes. And I know that this is a scary idea when we say social media with our students, but there are ways to make this happen responsibly.
Paris, we're still getting Catherine's feed.
So just
I'm not a
mute.
I don't have mute, unfortunately.
You can always.
Oh, wait.
I just like mute everyone. Sorry, guys. Oh, no. Okay, looks like you guys are all muting and we fixed that up. Okay, so we're back now and we are still recording. Let me, thank you. Yes, I was trying to mute everyone. I appreciate you guys helping me with driving this. So again, now remote testing with Avant. You guys probably remember our company with a STAMP World Speak assessment used for awarding the seal of biliteracy and identifying students that qualify for credit, for world language credit at that high school level. So I often talk a lot about testing, but lately the question has been remote testing, questions around that. So I thought today would be a good time to open this up and talk about your questions, talk about experiences from those who have already tried this, and kind of go down that path of giving you guys a chance to talk about this with me and with each other. So again, this is me. I am a regional account manager at Avant Assessment. I manage the state of Washington along with 7 other nearby states. Keeps me busy, and there's my nice dark brown hair from pre-COVID. So today you guys get a special treat with my new hair color. All right, objectives for today. So I'd like you all to be informed on the options for remotely proctoring language proficiency testing. Remotely proctoring is proctoring, you know, in a different location than the student actually is, but still providing that security, integrity for the assessment and for the scores that we're going to generate. So I want to maybe discover some new ideas to prepare for remote proctoring or improve upon your current remote proctoring skills. So maybe learn some tips from others who have learned something. All right, and then big one here. I want some of you who have been doing this to share your best practices so we can all learn and grow from that. And then kind of finally, by the end of the day, I want everyone to leave here understanding what the process is for implementing remote proctoring, and so we can continue to you know, make this offering available to students. Got some more people coming in. I'm going to admit them. All right, so any questions on those objectives or what we're going to do? Let's go on forward. We're going to jump into our questions so we can start talking with each other. Okay, so let me see. We do have a lot of participants here, so I'll bring this over to my side so I can call people out a little bit better. Okay, so does your school or district have a plan in place for providing language proficiency testing during distance or hybrid learning, whatever that setup is that your school or district is at? So kind of, yeah, what is that plan if there is one? And maybe you don't have a plan, and we could talk about that too if you have questions. So looks like Paris and Donna say thumbs up. We have their districts are both providing that, and the WAFLT testing team is assisting with that as well. So if you want to in the chat, or you can unmute yourself to talk, would you like to share about your district's plan for implementing, or maybe your district has decided not to. I'll bring my chat open. Okay, good. All right, Amber Joy, what district are you with? Amber, Bellingham, thank you. Okay, so Bellingham, leaving up to the teachers. All right, of course you guys want to assess. So here's some options. We'll talk about those today. You'll learn that. You can control this very much like you did with in-person testing in the school. You're still in control of coordinating things, and you can still be involved. Okay, and Bonnie from Edmond said nothing district-wide, but some stamp for the district. So trying to, again, set it up. It looks like they're leaving that down to, you know, those of us who want to figure this out together. And remote testing for grades 9 to 12 until June. Okay, and then in-person testing for 12th graders. So that is Paris from Bellevue. Thank you guys for inputting that. Yes, that's kind of what I've heard. So grades 9 to 12 at Bellevue there, that is impressive. A lot of districts that I've spoken with have been deciding to maybe focus on those 12th graders, 11th graders, or maybe students that are incoming, those 9th graders into the high school level. So a lot of decisions around limiting who we're testing, and that's been a trend since spring. I did see some districts in the spring, just to share with you guys some experiences. We kind of had this group that said, oh, we're gonna hold out. Let's wait until fall, everything will be better. And now come fall, we're still kind of in the same situation. And they're like, okay, I guess we have to do this now. We can't avoid it any longer. So I'm getting this new group coming to me asking, okay, what is this remote testing? As a company, Avant started providing remote testing in about April. So we tried to get that together really quickly after the COVID response and just make that available so that students last year, really those seniors getting that seal by literacy or some credit, had that opportunity. So remote proctoring last spring, we got to learn a lot, but we do have a couple options. Okay, and then we heard from Seattle. They're gonna do remote testing a few times a year. Coordinators helping in the building, that's very important. So when we're talking about our plans, not if we're gonna offer it, but kind of how, when, is that different from previous years? So one of those times of year that we're gonna offer testing, or are we gonna wait it out a little bit longer? Okay, so thank you all for chiming in on that piece. I'm gonna move forward now to our next question. Okay, that was 2. Okay, there it is. All right, so for those of you who have been proctoring tests remotely already, what are some challenges you faced? How did you overcome them? And then for those of you who have not yet proctored tests remotely, what are some of the obstacles that you feel maybe are in your way that you could bring up today? Maybe some of our colleagues here could have answers, and maybe those challenges that they overcame might be similar to the obstacles you're facing. Okay, I'm going back in here. All right, so again, if you guys want to unmute yourself, I'm happy to hear your beautiful voices. Otherwise, I'll keep sharing your chats, and I appreciate the participation. Good. ASL is hard to get a good video quality on Zoom. Yeah, Paris?
I just wanted to share some of the things we learned. It was a great option. We really appreciate that you so quickly pivoted to allowing remote testing. That was impressive. But what we found was that it introduced new equity issues, because the kids who were like going to follow through all the steps were like these highly engaged college-bound kids. So that's why we feel like we have to have at least an in-person testing one time to gather up those kids who just can't do all the steps they would do remotely on their own.
Thank you, Paris. Yes, that is a good point. that's a challenge that we have definitely seen. And one of the reasons that we have tried to provide basically a couple options, or what I like to say avenues, for assessing the student. I'm going to jump away from this slide if I can here. Oh yeah, all right. Just going to jump over to our website. This is avantassessment.com, and it's our remote testing and COVID-19 resources. If you go to the website, there is a kind of click here for more information at the top of the website that will quickly get you over to this area, so you don't have to memorize and type in this longer URL. Let me see here, I've got a chat. Yeah, one-on-one testing during office hours. Thank you, Amber. Yeah, so one-on-one testing was kind of what we led with last year. As Tara said, we scrambled to get something together here. And this Avant proctoring, or educator proctoring, was kind of set up to be a one-on-one for those students. We have since expanded educator proctoring to kind of accommodate the features that Zoom, Google have already had and are increasing as, you know, distance learning is used across the country. But breakout rooms have been a good solution for testing small size groups of students and kind of managing them while keeping them in their own separate room so they cannot hear or see the screens of the other students who are testing within that. So utilizing those breakout rooms and keeping that open to kind of the webinar platform of your choosing, because we all have different things we're comfortable with. We all have different platforms that our districts are asking us to use. And so being able to maybe use Zoom like we are today, or Google, or, you know, whatever that would be, but choosing that and being in control of it yourself. So you're not only scheduling the testing, but you're able to be there with the student. And as Paris pointed out, this can create more of a connection so that you can maybe engage with students who aren't so motivated on their own, holding them a little bit more accountable to being in the session with you, or maybe a counselor or someone at the district that they're more familiar with. All right, we're getting some more chats coming in. So we ran the IB individual orals in Zoom sessions last spring. Yes, I heard about some people doing testing in the parking lot, right? And so trying to space everybody out. Of course, our assessments, they can be taken in person still if your district is able to bring students in at some time now or maybe in the future with distancing in place and just allowing that. So yes, I've actually received that question. Can we still test in person? Yes, if you're allowed to and you're following guidelines. That is, of course, still going on. Okay, so Bonnie, you're sharing some stuff about the IB. Students had to be a room without signage, so I had some funny sessions with students in a closet or a bathroom. Okay, yeah, we do not have that strict of rule where there can't be any signage or anything like that in the room, but there have been questions kind of around, you know, the student not being able to leave the room. Students not being able to leave the room, the idea is that, you know, of course, when they go outside of the room, you can't see them anymore. They have that potential to access things. We as educators, especially if we know the students, can kind of, you know, make decisions and use our best judgment around who to watch out for or who to maybe, you know, be more aware of. But you guys are in control of that with the students. But yeah, just kind of getting them prepared as well as yourself to sit down for a webinar session, right? They're going to be going through the test. And the idea is we kind of want them to finish that all within one setting just so that they're not going out and learning or grabbing resources. But with everything going on now, just giving them this outlet and this opportunity is a big plus. And so trying to release that anxiety and make them feel comfortable and actually get a proficiency score that's reflective of their proficiency and not reflective of their anxiety. So I wanted to go back here. There was a comment about ASL and hard to get good video quality on Zoom. That is something that, you you know, while we do not offer an ASL test, the video quality is an issue of equity, right? And trying to get that across to students. I know I've heard from a lot of districts providing district devices, or, you know, sourcing that from somewhere within the family if that's available. But getting that device and the quality, maybe even, you know, allowing a student to come to a school site, even though they're distant and maybe not in the same room, allowing them to have that internet access, right? Where I live, I don't know if the quality is coming across well, but I have satellite internet. And so sometimes I find that Zoom works much better for me than, say, Google or Meets or something like that. So maybe discussing that with the students and being open to using a webinar platform or a setup that would accommodate them the best. Okay, let me check my time here. All right, I think we're going to move on to the next question. If I can find it again. Okay, move my stuff around. Okay, so back to question 3 now. Okay, so now I want you all to think, what is the best advice that you have to share today? Well, we have about 10 minutes left. And then if you have not yet proctored tests remotely, maybe what are your ideas for implementation? What's your best ideas? What's your strategy going forward? So that we can hear kind of the best things, motivating tips to end the session with and go out and make this happen. So what was the best advice? That one thing that you thought was just so helpful that you know, made your life a lot easier with remote proctoring, or maybe, you know, this idea that you're really excited about. Or maybe there wasn't any good things, right? I hope there was. Okay, we've got a chat. Let's see who the brave. Give the students a keyboard map. Oh, thank you, Paris. Yes, keyboarding map for their individual language. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can jump out of this again. Gonna go back to our website. So yeah, on the website, I did kind of point out here, there's our Avant remote proctoring and the educator proctor, where you're controlling that yourself with the Zoom or Google breakout sessions. So at the top here, we do have our resources. And under those resources in our user guides, we have information about setting up the keyboards. So depending on the operating system of the computer that the student ends up using, we kind of have that set up, you know, for Mac or HP, Windows. So they could look at that. On our user guides page, you'll see right on top, we do have our remote proctoring items collected here. But just quickly to reference what Paris is talking about here, in the writing input guide, this will help for setting up the keyboard if your technology people or yourself are in charge of that. Now maybe if the students are at home, helping them do that themselves. If you don't have an IT person at the district who can remotely access and set that up for the student. So that writing input guide can be helpful. They can print out that keyboard or have an on-screen keyboard as well to kind of help them map that and answer their writing responses more quickly. We also have an option for handwriting. So if the students do not want that keyboarding, we can facilitate handwriting. But now handwriting adds another logistical challenge with remote testing and how we get that handwritten item to the student and then how we get it back to us. And for us here at Avant, we still need that little barcode at the top so we can identify it in our system and things like that. So let us know if you have a student that you need to accommodate with handwriting who's not able to come to the site and, you know, be in person to kind of do that by hand. But that is an option. And of course, something when we're doing regular testing, not remote testing, is definitely something we want to offer to students. Okay, so remote proctoring. One of the best things that I think I've realized is when the students are being proctored, when you're acting as a proctor, you don't have to share your webcam. So for me, with limited bandwidth, it helps me to turn off my webcam. And there at the beginning, I can talk to the student, say hi, get comfortable, but then I can turn that off. The students, you know, they don't see me either. I'm not distracting them. They're focusing on their test and I'm still watching them. They have their webcams going, but I can, you know, manage some breakout rooms, see students, and do that a little bit more quicker, have that bandwidth capacity. So not sharing my webcam the whole time is like a realization. I can maybe do some emails or have a snack and I'm still, you know, present enough for the students if they have questions. Okay, another chat. Thanks for the suggestions and support, Paris. So I guess I'm going to open this up for the last 5 minutes to just questions then in general. You can chat them, you can ask them out loud. I want this to be valuable for you guys. Someone said, how do we get started? I want to learn more. So if I didn't address things, I know we had a brief amount of time today, but let's hear it. You know, these last 5 minutes are for you, or you can, you know, go take a bio break and transition to your new session. Yes, Donna, thank you for sharing the WAFLT testing website. Good friends at WAFLT, always here to help. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that if you have any questions, you can go straight to Avant, or if you go to that, or even on WAFLT.net, this is linked, but this will take you straight to testing. And then we connect you all with Bonnie for the majority of our languages, but we can also help with any other languages. And it has a step-by-step guide of everything to get set up and get started. But we couldn't do it without Avant. Avant keeps adding new languages we can test all the time. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you. Yes, new languages coming. So I think we'll try and send out some announcements to all of our constituents, and WAFLT, you're free to share that with everyone else. But we have some language release dates that are coming up. And so as soon as those are available, we're hoping by January at the latest for some of these new languages. And so we can do that. Can't see each other. So yes, if you can see their videos, students can't see each other if they're in those breakout rooms. If we're all in a session like this, and Paris, Donna, they're all talking in their speaking sections or sharing their screens, we can all see that, and it's a bit more chaotic. But managing those breakout rooms and setting the students up in that way keeps them in their own environment, and you can kind of hop around, which mimics us, in that testing center, or if we're in a larger group testing environment in person, we're not stuck there looking at every student's test all at once. We're circulating, moving around, being available for the students. Breakout rooms, yes. We are trying to increase our documentation for the breakout rooms and kind of group sessions in general based on the different platforms. So we're just compiling that. We want to make that available here on the website as well, just increasing those resources, updating them now in the fall and winter as well. So I have not done it on Teams, but we have had clients who have. I, again, need to use Zoom. It's the best connection for me. But yes, we encourage you guys to use what you are familiar with. You can even have multiple educators, so yourself and a colleague, in that together if you want to kind of tag team and watch students, while one of you is doing something else. Seattle doesn't allow Zoom. Yes, of course. See, so we're trying to keep these options available. And so you can choose, Google if you need to. And so that's, you need to follow your guidelines for the district, of course. Yes, you can use Avant. The test will be compatible in Zoom. The test with Zoom, as long as you're using something that connects. The only kind of constraint we have right now is with our Avant proctored testing. So this is when you pay us $15 to actually proctor the student. And so this one right now, Chromebooks will not work. So the student needs to use a different device for testing with Avant remote proctoring. The Chromebooks work for, you know, Zoom, for Google, MS Teams, those other things that you guys have mentioned. So, so just, you know, going away from Chromebooks, if you're having the students test with our remote proctoring partner. But we are, of course, working to get them to make that compatible. But currently, that's kind of the constraint as far as those devices. So if you proctor, correct, there are no additional costs. The only cost comes when you're using these Avant remote proctoring partners. So no cost to you guys. Of course, we know some districts have to pay teachers or staff members, you know, a fee kind of for that time. And so we have heard, you know, well, we can't have the teachers do the proctoring because the district won't pay $65 an hour for that or something like that. So I've seen a lot of sites now having testing teams or just aides and kind of assistants that are available to help with that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the teacher or the counselor themselves, but trying to kind of outsource that, maybe even from the technology team, and asking them, you know, if there are people doing testing for high stakes reasons in other departments. I really appreciate your questions, everyone. So thank you for, you know, being interested in this topic and for sharing the questions today. I am going to be wrapping it up here so that I can manage the time and keep you all on schedule. Thank you all for being a part of the WAFLT Virtual Fall Conference. And I'm going to make this recording available. I should go back and end on my slide here so that y'all can have my contact information. Again, Bonnie Buck at avantassessment.com. And I'll do my best to help you guys out when you email or call me. So thank you again. Enjoy the conference.